futuristic? Goodbye high-speed chase. Hello, GPS darts.
A air-powered launcher that shoots out GPS projectiles that stick to the back of the car.
Police Chief Stu Cameron says the Star Chase GPS fires a dart too slowly to hurt bystanders, but coated with a powerful adhesive, allowing police to track a fleeing vehicle.
A number of police agencies nationwide have been testing out the product, and now 8 patrol cars in the North Sacramento CHP office are part of a pilot program here in California.
Be competitive. So if I'm in a company, I have to mentally think, my job skill maybe is good for 5 years at most. So what do I want to do next? And if you allow them to have that co-pilot, they can aspirationally keep moving to the next level. So I think the onus then becomes on the business to make sure they have a culture to accept that. The other thing I would say is that there's the whole idea of workflow design, which I think is going to be imperative in this wave. And I'll give you an example. There's a study starting at MIT, which is the work of the future for generative AI, led by Julie Shaw and Ben Armstrong. And they went to a company and they had 800 HR experts. And they said, okay, we want to bring in this co-pilot of bots to do customer service. And they just brought them in and they found that the community didn't use them. So they had to change the workflow. So the workflow change was you don't have an HR manager now. You can go to this bot. But all the HR managers were turned into specialization experts. So you'd go to the bot first, and then you'd go to the HR expert. It actually improved productivity, improved people's NPS of the system, got answers to them much faster. But it was because of this workflow change that they had to do. If they just brought it in, the technology would not have succeeded. So I think that with the technology is where we have to go to make this work.
Of education, I think that's one industry that potentially is going to be disrupted.
Of not necessarily just what's going to happen to work and labor more broadly, but how does labor more broadly get educated over time in a much different way than ever before. And we have to recognize, and I'll speak on behalf of myself rather than the panel, the way I learned is going to be much different than the way the next generation learns. And the next generation had the ability, through the internet to tap into anybody, any place around the world. And now what the AI is doing and the technologies are doing themselves is actually pinpointing that to be very specifically augmenting that learning just in time, not 3 years earlier, for whatever is going to be needed for that interview, for that job, for that promotion, or otherwise. And so we've got to be looking at both of these things, not necessarily just what's going to happen to the labor force.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Support this great content by hitting the Cash App and by joining the Patreon.
And we have GPS darts. We have the robotic dogs. And guys, we know these GPS darts probably about 10 years old. This article from Canada is about 5 years old. Remember, they moved the technology in phases. This is a part of the plan. And if the sheep don't wake up, the machines are definitely going to take over. And once they take over, there's no going back. It's going to change everything that we do. A kid 5 to 6 years old will be able to know just as much as someone in college. I brought you the video of Ray Kurzweil talking about the brain interface. Half man, half machine. And we had Ben Armstrong from MIT take bots to a facility. And we know how they're going to sell us on it. These bots are here to help. Same way with AI. AI is here to help you. But guys, we know they're going to replace you. The same way how they did with people from overseas. Oh, they're just here to learn from you. Next thing you know, they have your job and you're being laid off. And that was for cheaper labor. Now, just think about robots. They don't need a lunch break. They don't need insurance. And they can work 24/7. That's the reason why you keep hearing productivity is going to move up. Because these machines don't need a break. And guys, this is the physical agenda. Remember the spiritual agenda. They want your mind, body, and soul. And that's what the metaverse is all about. And remember the Crypto Teacher told you, because he knows. When it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Being in the U.S., I think it's a combination of the bully pulpit, being able to say how people should be allowed to move around, not to get in the way, so to speak, but also in terms of creating an infrastructure that more people can get access to. So I think it's imperative on the governments of every countries around the world to bring this infrastructure in, to basically try to close this digital divide, try to find a way to use their budgets to do that, because the thing that I'm optimistic about is their youth will rally around this technology. Mm-hmm. It makes them brilliant very quickly, which could never have been done before. Yes. So if you have that infrastructure in place for them, they can make your country wealthy beyond its dreams. Mm. And it's just a matter of them embracing what you put in front of them.
The critical issues of food and water scarcity compounded by climate challenges. And happy Eid to you too. I think there's no better way to celebrate Eid than by learning, and today is an example here at the AMNC of the vast learning that we all have been exposed to. Immediate action is imperative to address multiple challenges in our water-scarce desert environment. This includes cultivating food, combating prolonged droughts, mitigating desertification, and unpredictable rainfall patterns. This action covers the entire food supply chain, promoting healthy consumption, but also reducing food loss. We are dedicated to achieving the SDGs and have collaborated with stakeholders, particularly in food entrepreneurship, to drive transformative shifts in food systems for long-term sustainability. If you look at the latest WHO reports on droughts, and we live in the region in one of the most drought-stressed and heat-stressed areas globally, but also on malnutrition, there are three important facts that are probably worth highlighting today. The global food crisis is alarming.
We're going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology, and I worry that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust. And we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Crypto Teacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tanya save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tanya save New York. Long COVID stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tanya goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.